Strength. Sometimes we get all that we can handle. Some people reach the pinnacle of their strength and decide this is enough. I'm done. While others spend their entire lives grasping at just one more morsel of strength to throw on top of their pile like they're Smaug. Truly, neither approach is the incorrect way to go about your life. Whether you find fulfillment in what you've accomplished or fulfillment in trying to accomplish an ever-increasingly grand goal, both are valid approaches to living your life. However, you know what isn't a valid approach to living your life? Squandering your strength, or having life squander your strength for you, which is the much more likely and common scenario. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that if you're not reaching for your highest level of strength, you're not living life properly. That would be elitist and annoying. What I am saying is that one of life's greatest misfortunes is watching those with incredible potential or strength have that opportunity stripped away from them. Whether that strength be mental, physical, or spiritual. Life is a cruel mistress that will strip you of anything you identify as a strength if you give it the chance. And true strength is rallying against that every single day. However, unfortunately, this lesson hasn't exactly translated into anime and manga, because there are tons of characters throughout all of anime manga that have incredible promise and strength and then have that stripped away from them. Whether that be through a traumatic event, a dirty play in a battle, or by a surprise attack from somebody they believe to be an ally, the story of the truly strong having their strength stripped away from them is commonplace in anime. And unfortunately, it's very commonplace in Naruto. See, there's a long-running bit that's existed in the Naruto community as long as the Naruto community has existed, that if you're too strong or show too much promise, that plot bullet's coming your way. Kimimaro, Itachi, Shisui, Madara. See, usually when we talk about people who have been nerfed by the plot, these are the names that come up. Kimimaro had a crippling chakra illness that killed him in his battle against Gaara and Rock Lee, also making him an invalid vessel for Orochimaru to swap into. Itachi suffered a similar fate, suffering from an undescribed chakra illness that slowly but surely chipped away at his chakra reserves, meaning that Itachi, even though he had the strongest arsenal of weapons in the world, didn't have the battery to run them. Well, at least for very long. Madara, the villain who he had built towards for hundreds of chapters, the second he achieved his strongest form, gets his back blown out by Black Zetsu, a non-factor in the story up until that point. Shisui, the wielder of the two strongest genjutsu on Earth, is killed off screen before the plot of Naruto even begins. However, I don't want to talk about any of these four characters. God knows we've talked about them enough. No, instead, the character whose power was squandered that I want to talk about today is Obito. More specifically, White Mask Obito. Because when it comes to characters all throughout Naruto, very few people have as many forms as Obito. He's been Genin and Jonin Child Obito. He's been Yellow Mask Obito. He's been Toby. He's been White Mask Obito. He's been Ten Tails Obito. He's been Post Ten Tails Obito. He's been DMS Obito. Only out of all of those forms, the form that should have had the most potential outside of Ten Tails Obito was White Mask Obito. In fact, I would take into account when you consider the fact that Ten Tails Obito was unable to use Kamui, that White Mask Obito should have been able to give Ten Tails Obito a run for his money. And yet when it comes to all of the versions of Obito, and maybe all of the characters in the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, White Mask Obito's power is the most squandered. A character who, for all intents and purposes, should have been the most powerful person on the battlefield was a relative non-factor. Now, I'm not saying in Naruto's story that White Mask Obito was weak. He wasn't. But comparatively to what White Mask Obito should have been able to pull off, he was weak. In fact, I would argue that it was Kishimoto's blatant commitment to making sure that Obito never overcame Madara in terms of strength and therefore never became the primary antagonist of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War that significantly nerfed Obito's possible ability in his White Mask state. So how strong do I think White Mask Obito should have been? Strong enough to win the Fourth Great Shinobi World War. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll believe that as well. But before I get to sway you guys to my side, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And if you love the idea of me explaining how powerful your favorite anime character should have been, guys, you're gonna love my other channel, The Weeb Commander, where instead of talking about Naruto and Boruto, I talk all other anime. And if you just love the idea of me talking about anime characters in general, you're gonna love my anime podcast, Otaku's Anonymous, where me and Danny Mata break down everything that happened in anime this week. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Or if you like the idea of some incredible anime merch, you're gonna love my brand new merch store, otakusanonymous.net, where you can get some of the greatest anime t-shirts, crew necks, and sticker packs you've ever seen. So Nick, you're making a video about one of your least favorite characters not being strong enough. What's going on there? Well, yes, it is true. I have a large amount of disdain for Obito in my heart. Just because I have a lot of disdain for Obito in my heart doesn't mean that I can't be objective about how strong he should have been. See, as much as it was propped up that Madara was the grand final antagonist of the entirety of Naruto, guess who we believed was Madara for the majority of the anime and the manga? It was Obito. And the reason we believed Obito was Madara was because of the insane amount of strength that he had. And basically throughout the entirety of Naruto's history, up until the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, Obito is this undefeatable force, with the only people who ever really managed to get an upper hand against him being Minato, the fourth Hokage. And still, technically, the battle that Obito had against Minato resulted in Minato's death. And now how much of that you can tie into Obito, I'll leave up to you. But still, until the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, and more specifically, until Madara was released by Kabuto, Obito was primary antagonist #1, a character that everybody far and wide, regardless of village alliance, was afraid of. And White Mask Obito was the Obito that we got in the beginning of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, the highest version of our primary antagonist form of Obito. Now, obviously, after Madara gets released, Obito takes the 10 tails inside of him, becomes a 10-tailed Jinchuriki, and technically achieves a stronger form. Now, the reason I put stronger form in quotations here is because obviously in his 10 tails form, he isn't able to use Kamui, which has been his kit for like his entire life. And therefore, one could make the kind of difficult argument that White Mask Obito is stronger than 10 tails Obito. And considering the fact that plenty of people have made the argument that Madara was stronger before he became the 10 tails Jinchuriki, as when Uchihas tend to become the 10 tails Jinchuriki, they forget all of their Sharingan abilities, like the fact that Madara, after becoming the 10 tails Jinchuriki, became more Palpatine and less Uchiha, and once again, Obito was unable to use Kamui. Regardless, the point has been argued. I'm not going to argue it here because we're just talking about White Mask Obito. But let's quickly go over what White Mask Obito was canonically capable of, based off the abilities that he had and the feats he pulled off. See, White Mask Obito was an interesting iteration of Obito because the White Mask had 2 holes, as opposed to the 1 hole that he ran around with his Toby for basically a decade. Now, the reason that White Mask Obito had 2 holes in his mask is because now he not only had his Kamui Eye, but he also had one of Madara's Rinnegan. Now, the reason that Obito didn't have 2 Rinnegan is because he didn't have enough chakra to control 2 Rinnegan, which has always been kind of silly to me when you consider the fact that half of his body was Hashirama's cells. But go off, King. And technically, just having 1 Rinnegan is kind of stronger than having 2. What do I mean by that? Well, at least in Obito's circumstance, having 1 Rinnegan is stronger than having 2, because Obito can't deactivate the Rinnegan to switch between the Rinnegan and a Sharingan, as Obito, much like Nagato, wasn't the person who activated said Rinnegan. So if hypothetically Obito replaces both of his eyes with Madara's Rinnegan, sure, he would get access to the 6 paths and the outer path abilities, but he would lose the ability to use Kamui. However, if Obito just replaced his burner Sharingan eye with a Rinnegan, now he has access to the 6 paths and the outer path and still Kamui, which is super broken. Like, imagine if Nagato also had intangibility. Well, obviously it wouldn't be that powerful because, you know, legs no worky. Those abilities would be transferred to his 6 paths of pain. Because yes, if you create 6 paths of pain, or 5 paths, or 4, or how many paths you want to make, you can only make 6. That's the upper limit. Those paths of pain gain the ocular abilities that you have, which is why every single one of the 6 paths of pain outside of the Deva path, which can use all of the Rinnegan abilities, is able to use 1 Rinnegan ability. However, if hypothetically the 6 paths of pain also had a Kamui Eye, it stands to reason they would also be able to use Kamui, because if a path of pain can use the abilities of the Rinnegan because they have the Rinnegan in their face, why should the Sharingan be any different? And in fact, we have confirmation that the Sharingan abilities do pass the 6 paths of pain because Obito, just like Nagato, has 6 paths of pain. And just like with Nagato's 6 paths of pain, Obito's 6 paths of pain can share vision through their Rinnegan, but also, unlike Nagato's 6 paths of pain, use their Sharingan to have extra perceptive abilities, meaning that all of Obito's 6 paths of pain were able to use the predictive and perception abilities of a Mangekyo Sharingan, which not only allowed Obito's 6 paths of pain to defend themselves more aptly from incoming attacks, but also to launch their attacks with greater precision. So Obito has access to all of the abilities of the Rinnegan. That is, the 6 paths, the ability to summon the Ghetto statue, and the ability to make the 6 paths of pain. He also has Kamui working at its highest level of capacity ever. As it stands to reason, as White Mask Obito is technically the last iteration of Obito that could use Kamui at a high level, would be the strongest user of Kamui in the history of Obito.
Oh, Nick, what about DMS Obito?
He was dead. He was a walking corpse. Not to mention, because half of his body was white Zetsu, also known as Hashirama's cells, he had access to an incredibly large chakra pool and diluted wood release, and a healing factor that made sure that his Kamui eye never went blind. Not to mention, he also wielded a genjutsu so powerful that it was compared to Kodo Matsukame and was able to put a perfect Jinchuriki in Yagura under a decade-long genjutsu, which, by the way, should be impossible, as it's stated that perfect Jinchuriki like Yagura are immune to genjutsu, as the second you put the Jinchuriki under genjutsu, the tailed beast inside of them will disrupt their chakra flow and break them out of it. And when you consider the fact that we've seen Kodo Matsukame be released from people like Mifune, if at any point Isobu decided to disrupt Yagura's chakra upon identifying that he was under genjutsu, Yagura would have been broken out of it, which means that the genjutsu that Obito wields is not only so powerful that it can completely brainwashing you into becoming a feral, blood-crazed monster who drives your entire village into the ground, but also so powerful that if you are a perfect Jinchuriki, your tailed beast won't even notice. Obito only ever uses that genjutsu once. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's got a 10-year cooldown like Kodo Matsukame. We simply do not know. But don't worry, Obito has plenty of other tools, like Fire Release, on par with that of Madara. And when I mean on par, I mean equal to that of Madara, because there is very much a scene where Obito and Madara shoot giant fireballs at the Shinobi Alliance, and they're the same size. And considering the fact that Madara is hailed as probably the greatest user of Fire Release in the history of Naruto, shooting a fireball that can even be loosely compared to that of Madara's is insane. Not to mention, prior to Madara coming back to life, Obito had the Gunbai, or as I like to call it, the Goodbye. The Gunbai is a weapon that's been passed down through the Uchiha clan for generations. It is a large fan that was carved out of a spiritual tree that we never hear about again. But this is because the spiritual tree is only used to make ritualistic instruments. And the Gunbai is the only one we ever see, but honestly, it's the only one I ever want to see. Gunbai has the ability to reflect all incoming chakra back as wind release. Oh, you just shot a fireball at me? Wind release back at you. Oh, you're about to hit me with a Rasengan? Wind release back at you. And genuinely, there doesn't appear to be an upper limit to how much chakra this thing can send back at you, as it was able to quite literally reflect one of Naruto's super mini tailed beast balls back at Naruto. Yes, that's right, this wooden fan is so powerful, it was able to knock back a mini-tailed beast ball with no damage whatsoever. Now, obviously, because like I've previously stated, Kishimoto was dedicated to the idea that Obito was not the main antagonist of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War. Obito, the second that Madara was reincarnated, was like, oh yeah, here you go, take this back. Which, right there, is not only a perfect representation of what I'm talking about, but also is a nerf for Obito. That'd be like one of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist from a newer generation, seeing a previous generation get reincarnated and being like, oh yeah, you take Samehada. Why would you give up one of your most powerful weapons? Not to mention that White Mask Obito is one of the fastest characters in the entirety of Naruto, as he battled against KCM2 Naruto, Might Guy, Kakashi, and Killer Bee simultaneously, while reacting and dodging all of them and really only ever getting overwhelmed once Naruto unlocked KCM2. But he still reacts to KCM2 multiple times, though Naruto unlocking KCM2 did kind of spell the end for White Mask Obito, but not immediately, as KCM2 Naruto stated that White Mask Obito was so powerful it was difficult for him to get attacks in. In fact, the wording that Naruto used was impossible to get attacks in, and KCM2 Naruto acknowledged the fact that Obito hit like a truck, calling him ridiculously strong. And White Mask Obito backed up these claims. See, White Mask Obito didn't only impress Naruto, he also impressed Gyuki, the second strongest tailed beast, because White Mask Obito was able to do something with Shuriken that the fourth Raikage was barely able to do with Nin Taijutsu, and that is cut off the tentacles of Gyuki. White Mask Obito, simply by throwing giant shuriken at Gyuki, was able to slice off his tentacles, something that took the fourth Raikage 24 hours and a lightning cloak to pull off, and Obito did it in a matter of seconds with ninja tools. I mean, like big ninja tools, but still. Now, sure, technically was Gyuki under the effect of a couple of curse marks that suppressed tail beast power? Yeah, but it's still a very impressive feat. But regardless of all of this power, eventually White Mask Obito was overwhelmed. But he really shouldn't have been. See, the real problem with White Mask Obito is the complete underutilization of his 6 paths of pain. See, Obito's 6 paths of pain are way stronger, like incomprehensibly stronger than Nagato's. See, anybody that you convert into a Path of Pain retains the abilities that they had while they were alive. And while Nagato's 6 Paths of Pain were incredibly powerful because they were able to wield the abilities of the Rinnegan, the people that Nagato converted into his 6 Paths of Pain weren't particularly legendary ninja, with Yahiko probably being the strongest out of all of the 6 Paths of Pain in terms of ninja they were when they were alive. But Obito's 6 Paths of Pain weren't just regular ninja. They were 6 Edo Tensei Jinchuriki, who got their tailed beasts back. So already there's a couple of major differences between Nagato's 6 Paths of Pain and Obito's. The first and most glaring of which is the fact that they are Edo Tensei, meaning that they're technically invincible. If you cut them in half, they'll just regenerate. The second major difference is that they have infinitely refilling chakra, which brings up a pretty crucial talking point. See, we know that the only way that Nagato's 6 Paths of Pain were able to operate at the level that they were is because Nagato was constantly providing them with chakra. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to handle the Rinnegan abilities that they were dishing out. But Obito's in a slightly different situation, because while obviously Obito could be providing his 6 Paths of Pain with chakra, not only were these 6 Paths of Pain that he was using now perfect Jinchuriki. I say now perfect Jinchuriki because not all of the Jinchuriki that he was using as the 6 Paths of Pain were perfect Jinchuriki when they were alive, but now as his Edo Tensei 6 Paths of Pain, they were all able to undergo their complete tailed beast transformation, which I guess the majority of them could do in their lifetime, but they didn't have control over the transformation, which I guess they also probably didn't have control over the transformation in the afterlife. It was Obito who had control. Whatever, it's confusing. But now we're talking about perfect Jinchuriki, the people in Naruto with the most chakra on Earth, and that chakra is also infinitely refilling, which means on a sheer chakra output level that Obito's 6 Paths of Pain should massively outclass Nagato's, because even without their tailed beast transformations, the 6 Paths of Pain retain any and all abilities that they had while they were alive. So sure, if hypothetically Obito decided to bring back these 6 Jinchuriki and not give them their tailed beasts, they wouldn't have been able to do things like manifesting wings on their lower back or tentacles out of their lower back, but they still should have hypothetically been able to use the Kekkei Genkai of the tailed beasts who they once held. As Naruto, who was once the Jinchuriki of all 9 tailed beasts at once, can still use things like lava release and magnet release, meaning that not only would Obito's 6 Paths of Pain have the ability to use the Rinnegan much like Nagato's, but also they would be able to use any and all abilities that they had while they were alive. But it doesn't end there, because outside of being able to use all of the abilities of the Rinnegan, they should be able to use all of the abilities of the Sharingan, which means that all of the 6 Paths of Pain that Obito had should have access to Kamui. Now, technically, the argument to this idea is that we never see any of these 6 Paths of Pain activate in MS, and therefore some people believe that all of these 6 Paths of Pain were just given Sharingan from Obito's collection, while others believe that it's a reflection of Obito's eye and they're not able to activate in MS. I really don't buy into either of these ideas. I think, yes, the Sharingan and the Rinnegan in the 6 Paths of Pain eyes are a reflection of Obito's eyes, and I believe if 6 Paths of Pain having a reflection of a Rinnegan grants them the ability to use the paths of the Rinnegan, then they should have equal chance and ability to use the abilities of the Sharingan that they have a reflection of. That's not how Obito decided to use his 6 Paths of Pain. Obito somewhat understandably decided to leverage the true abilities of these perfect Jinchuriki and force them all to undergo their full-tailed beast transformation. And genuinely, when you're dealing with perfect Jinchuriki who are under your control, you're gonna want them to use their strongest transformations. I get that, but there's a slight problem with the fact that Obito is controlling 6 perfect Jinchuriki. The Obito states that controlling 6-tailed beasts in their Jinchuriki is very taxing, and thus because the usage of these 6 Paths of Pain is so taxing, these 6 Paths of Pain are unable to use the 6 Paths of the Rinnegan. What does this mean? Well, this means while technically Obito's 6 Paths of Pain are more powerful as starters than Nagato's 6 Paths of Pain, it means while they may still have access to their full-tailed beast transformations, they don't have access to things like the Deva Path, or the Naraka Path, or the Animal Path, and thus in actuality, they're just 6 Jinchuriki under Obito's control, which to me has always been odd. See, because here we are sitting and saying that Obito is unable to control 6-tailed beasts and their Jinchuriki. However, only a couple of chapters after his 6 Paths of Pain are dispatched, Obito becomes a 10-tails Jinchuriki, meaning that Obito, as White Mask Obito, was unable to control the 6-tailed beasts inside of his 6 Paths of Pain, but is able to control all 10 when they combined into a primordial terraforming monster that's called the 10 Tails. It's always just seemed like a weird line of logic to me. And I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense when you consider the fact that 10 Tails Obito was unable to use things like Kamui, but claiming that he's unable to control 6-tailed beasts when he goes on to later control 10 is weird. Well, it goes on to control 9 that form into a 10th one. Now, obviously, tailed beasts get stronger in a perfect Jinchuriki relationship. We know this, an individual tailed beast will always be weaker than a perfect Jinchuriki of that same tailed beast. But to take the problems with Obito's 6 Paths of Pain one step further, if we are truly investing in the fact that we believe that the 6 Paths of Pain can use any and all of the abilities of the Rinnegan and the Sharingan, even if, hypothetically, the Sharingan that they have isn't a Kamui Eye, the 6 Paths of Pain should have no issue activating Izanagi. But then I know what you're saying. You're saying,
Nick, if they activate Izanagi, they'll go blind in one eye, and they'll no longer have access to all of their Sharingan abilities, because they only have one Sharingan.
but if, hypothetically, they have access to both the abilities of the Sharingan and the Rinnegan, there's no reason for us to believe that upon the activation of their Izanagi, which they would be able to hold on to for a couple of seconds, maybe in order to rewrite themselves out of a being sealed situation, that they wouldn't then be able to summon the King of Hell and summon the 6 Paths of Pain body they're currently occupying and regain that Sharingan. Because here's the thing, people frequently ask the question why people like Nagato or Sasuke didn't summon the King of Hell to heal people like Yahiko or Neji. And while it is a somewhat good question, unfortunately the reason that people ask that question is because they don't understand how King of Hell works. Or maybe nobody understands how King of Hell works. See, because we, and I mean people who have consumed as much of the literature as there is to consume, understand King of Hell is an ability that allows you to heal your 6 Paths of Pain. See, there's no conventional evidence that points us towards the fact that King of Hell can be used to heal anybody and anything. We've only ever seen King of Hell heal the 6 Paths of Pain. However, within the confines of this circumstance, that's not an issue, because all of these Jinchuriki would therefore have the ability to activate Izanagi or Izanami and then use King of Hell to heal themselves, because they are 6 Paths of Pain. Now, would the King of Hell be able to heal blindness in a Sharingan eye from using Izanagi or Izanami? We don't know, considering the fact that the only way to reawaken an eye lost through the usage of Izanagi or Izanami is awakening a Rinnegan in said eye, stands to reason that a Rinnegan ability might be able to bring back a lost Sharingan. So even if hypothetically these Sharingan eyes that these 6 Paths of Pain have weren't Kamui eyes, they would still give every single one of these 6 Paths of Pain access to one of the most broken abilities in all of Naruto. And once again, because having a reflection of a Rinnegan gives you access to Rinnegan abilities, and we know that Obito's 6 Paths of Pain technically did have access to said Rinnegan abilities, there's no reason for us to believe that any of this was out of the scope of possibility. However, here's the thing. If 6 Paths of Pain are able to use the abilities of a Rinnegan and a Sharingan, and Obito knows he's got one of each, bringing back 6 ninja who would be unable to use these abilities makes these 6 ninja kind of the worst possible choice. Sure, yes, absolutely. Now, Obito technically has 6 perfect Jinchuriki under his control. However, you know what pretty consistently beat all 6 of these perfect Jinchuriki? Ocular prowess. Whether that be a Kamui Eye or any of the 6 paths of the Rinnegan, time and time again, we've seen that ocular dojutsu prowess is better than tailed beast power. So in actuality here, Obito's best move would have been to bring back these 6 Jinchuriki. But upon realizing that controlling these 6 Jinchuriki, if they all had their tailed beast, would be too taxing to allow him to use his Rinnegan abilities through them, because on top of all of this, mind you, after these 6 Paths of Pain undergo their full tailed beast transformations, they're more likely to break out of Obito's control, making them at their strongest even less suitable for being 6 Paths of Pain, and instead decided to just use these once very powerful ninja in their base forms as his 6 Paths of Pain, so they could use their incredibly powerful Kekkei Genkai along with the powers of a Sharingan and a Rinnegan, while taking the 6-tailed beast that he was gonna place in every single one of them individually and place them in himself. See, Obito was able to maintain the power of the 10 tails, which had parts of Kurama and Gyuki inside of it, meaning he was able to maintain an entity stronger than the 6-tailed beast that he placed in every single one of his Paths of Pain. So instead of placing these incredibly powerful entities into his 6 Paths of Pain so that he would cripple their ability to use their strongest abilities, he decided instead to seal those 6-tailed beasts inside of himself. Not only would he have more chakra to funnel into his 6 Paths of Pain, and we've seen what Uchiha are able to do when they're the Jinchuriki of multiple tailed beasts. Indra Zero, ring any bells? He would have been able to maximize the potential of his incredibly powerful 6 Paths of Pain, giving them the ability to use the paths of the Rinnegan, while also possibly the ability to use things like Kamui or Izanagi, and possibly in an unlimited loop. Not to mention, this entire time he would have a massive leg up on people like Nagato, because he would have legs. So not only would Obito be the Jinchuriki of six-tailed beasts, but he would also have six paths of pain that were able to do all of the things that paths of pain should be able to do. And this is why I say that the entirety of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War was written to make sure that Obito was as insignificant as a threat as possible. Because, well, absolutely sure, there was some moments where Obito was a legitimate contender in the power scheme of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War. The entirety of the plot is written to make sure that Obito never achieves too much strength. He gains the abilities of the Rinnegan, but he never uses them. He gains the six paths of pain, but they can't do the things that Nagato's six paths of pain could do. But oh, don't worry, they're able to undergo their full-tailed beast transformations. It's just when they do that, they're more susceptible to rallying against Obito. Oh, don't worry, he's now the biggest and baddest threat in the entire world. He got the 10 Tails Jinchuriki form, except he's unstable in that form and he can't use Kamui anymore. Kishimoto dedicated the entirety of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War to make sure that Obito didn't matter, when in actuality, White Mask Obito, at the full realization of his possible powers, would have been enough to win the war. What do I know? I'm just a man with an 80-pound pit bull sitting on his lap. What do you guys think? Do you believe that White Mask Obito's abilities were squandered? Tell me in the comments below, and while you're down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. It's time for a walk. It's time for a walk. It's time for a walk.